Hi, I'm V, and this is a spell. And in today's episode, I want to do a recap on the year 2024, specifically the themes of it being an 8 year, in preparation for us moving into 2025, a 9 year. I think that in order to fully be able to do the work that we are going to be invited to do in 2025, we had to go through this 8 year. So let's chat about it, because if your 8 year was anything like mine, whew, you did the work. You did the work. All right. So I'm going to be chatting about the 8 year through the lens of the tarot, because I am a tarot reader and that is what I do. And in the tarot, the eighth card is the strength card. And I am a life path 8. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments how this year landed for you, how the work of the 8 year showed up. But I don't know if it's because I'm an eighth path and it was an 8 year, but goddamn, it was an intense year. It was a really intense year. So, what is the strength card? What are the themes? The strength card asks us to approach the parts of ourself that we've repressed, that we've rejected, the thornier parts of ourself. It asks us to approach those parts with a curiosity, with a kindness, with a walls down approach and heart first. The strength card is ruled by Leo. Leo is linked to the heart. I think about the strength card being this invitation to treat ourselves and our stickier, thornier parts like we would treat a friend. Like, we would never shame a friend, right? Like, we wouldn't beat our best friend up for the parts that they don't love about themselves. But yet, we always do that to ourselves. We can be so mean, so cruel to ourselves. And the strength card is an invitation to look at our parts, to look at our patterns, to get curious about, why do we engage in these habits? Why do we avoid doing this? Why do we have this defense mechanism? It's about getting curious about our internal gatekeepers. And if you look at, or if you read any mythology, it's often that the gatekeepers, the people who try to just use brute strength to, barrel past the gatekeeper, they often end up dead. It's the people who approach that gatekeeper who maybe is ugly, who maybe is scary, intense. The people who approach that gatekeeper with a kindness, treating them like they're just any other person who is valuable, who is worth saying hi to, treated with respect. Those are the people who make it past the gatekeeper and get to the treasure or whatever. So, I'm not a master here, I'm not an expert in mythology, but you get the point. It's about using strength to get past our internal gatekeepers, to get curious, but not brute strength. Strength that comes from kindness, curiosity, learning to accept ourselves, to understand that all of our parts have a purpose. All of our defense mechanisms have a purpose. That is the work of strength. Strength asks us to get curious about these parts and then begin to integrate them. And I don't think we need to love these parts, but I think we need to understand them and begin to accept them. And that is how when we integrate all parts of ourself, the possibilities are endless. But we often cannot achieve what we desire when we are so cruel to ourselves, when we are rejecting our parts, when we are shaming ourselves. So let's chat about the themes of the minor arcana and the eights. We have the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is about walking away from something that is not aligned for you. This is about trusting your intuition, trusting that if something is not aligned, it's okay to walk away, and your intuition will guide you towards what is aligned, what is meant to be. But a big part of the Eight of Cups is recognizing that we often don't walk away because we don't want to deal with the feelings that will come up, the grief, the maybe the questioning of, should I have stayed? What would have happened if I would have stayed? The feelings of, it's really scary sometimes to walk away, especially if we're walking away from something that we are used to, that we have been involved with for years. The Eight of Cups asks us to honor those emotions. Instead of repressing those emotions, instead of rejecting those emotions, getting curious about those emotions. Why are those big feelings coming up? Is it because change is scary? Is it because as much as we want to walk away, we will grieve what we are walking away from? The Eight of Cups asks you to really accept your emotions, to allow yourself to feel them and to process them so that you can go down the right path towards what is aligned for you. And the next card, the Eight of Pentacles, is about commitment. The Eight of Pentacles asks us to keep putting in the work. Keep putting in the work day after day, week after week, towards what we want, towards what we value. But we can't discuss the Eight of Pentacles fully without discussing what makes it so hard to stay committed. Commitment can be hard. And sometimes it's those internal gatekeepers, that internal resistance, a part of us that wants to keep us safe and doesn't want us to commit to something that might take us down this path towards the unfamiliar, the unknown. Sometimes we're scared of commitment because we're scared of failing, or we're scared of succeeding. As much as we want success, it can come with bigger responsibilities. It can come with more visibility. It can come with various other things that maybe our nervous system is not ready for, doesn't have the capacity for, or, that feels unfamiliar and scary to our ego. So we maybe don't commit to what we say we really want, or we struggle to commit because of a number of reasons. The Eight of Pentacles asks us to get curious around, why are we struggling with commitment? What makes it so challenging? What part of ourselves is struggling with that? And can we bring acceptance to that part of ourselves? To really say to that part of ourselves, I know this is scary, but it's going to be okay. This thing is worth committing to. And figuring out what you need to offer yourself in order to stick with it and stay committed. Because the Eight of Swords, the next minor arcana card, is about being stuck. This has been a major theme for me. The story that I tell myself that I'm stuck. Things will always be the way they have been. Things are never going to change for me. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to figure it out. The Eight of Swords is here to remind us or show us that we aren't actually stuck. That is just a story that our mind is telling us, often a story that we've created to keep ourselves safe. And again, we have to get curious around why. Why am I telling myself this story? Why am I telling myself the story that I don't know how to do it, I can't do it? And again, it could be related to similar themes of the Eight of Pentacles, because success can be scary. It can come with more challenges, more responsibilities. It can come with the unknown, more visibility. And the last minor arcana card, the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands asks us to release control. It asks us to know, to realize, to recognize that we don't always have to be in control. that we aren't usually in control. It asks us to recognize when the situation is worth trying to control versus when it's worth letting go. Often trying to control a situation is just a waste of our energy. I talk a lot about quantum leaping to our desired reality. And so much of that process is doing the internal work to become a match to the reality we want, but then releasing and letting go and letting the universe deliver. We may know exactly what we want, but we have to be open to the different ways that it will show up. The Eight of Wands asks us to find that acceptance, that the acceptance of that things aren't in our control all the time. They're often out of our control. It asks us to find that balance between knowing when it's worth spending our energy, putting in more effort trying to get the outcome we want, versus when it's time to just sit back and allow things to flow. And it can be really hard when things aren't going our way to release control. But again, that is the work of the Eight, the work of the Strength card, of knowing when to really work with our different parts to bring acceptance to the resistance that's showing up along the way. Bring acceptance to the part of ourselves that wants to control, that is afraid of letting go, and honoring that part. Recognizing that that part is just as worthy as all of our other parts. We are moving into a 9-year. We are moving into the year of the Hermit. The Hermit asks us to integrate our mind and our emotions. It asks us to find essentially the middle ground, the path forward, taking into consideration both of these parts of ourself. And I don't think that we can truly do that until we have done the work of getting curious about how we truly feel about those repressed emotions that are often running the show. We have to bring those to our conscious awareness so that we can integrate them into our being, so that we can make the aligned decision moving forward in the Hermit. The Hermit is also about trusting our inner guidance, our inner wisdom, and taking things one step at a time. Often in the imagery of the Hermit, we just see someone like holding a lantern, guiding their path. And if you think about a lantern, it's usually just able to illuminate the one next step. The Hermit is about taking the next step, then the next step. We don't have to have everything figured out in the Hermit. But to trust ourselves, to be able to trust ourselves to figure out the next step, we have to have that self-acceptance. We cannot be shaming ourselves and beating ourselves up and have self-trust. At least I don't believe we can. So this work of 2024, this work of the eights, the Strength card, is preparing us for the 9-year. But I will also say, today being the last day of 2024, don't beat yourself up if you feel like you are still doing this work, if you are still integrating this work. I think often we really have the experiences in the year that we're in, and it takes us the next year, or at least a couple months, to integrate what we have experienced, what we have gone through. So there may be things that you still need to walk away from that you're not ready to yet, and that's okay. You may still be struggling with the story that you are stuck, and that's okay. This work doesn't have to happen overnight. It doesn't need to be completed by the end of today. I know that I will definitely still be doing this work in 2025, but you owe it to yourself to do the work. And if you've been struggling to do the self-work, to get curious about who you are, can you integrate the energy of the star? The star is the teacher card. I call it the support card of the Strength card. The star is about taking care of ourselves. It is about doing the healing work that we need, tending to our nervous system. And often when we are doing a lot of internal work, it can be heavy. I will watch myself do a ton of work, deep dive, and then need like a week to just reset, regroup. Like I can't touch, if it's really deep work that brings up a lot of emotions, I maybe can't revisit that for another week or two. And that's where the star comes in. We have to tend to ourselves. Go at the pace that you are safe going at. And after you do the work, if you feel dysregulated, if it's brought up a lot of emotions that are tough, what can help you regulate again? And I think the work of the star is lifelong work, work that we need not just in an 8 year or not just in a 17 year, but in every year, especially in the world that we're living in. So I hope this helps. I am still running an end of year tarot reading special, and the end of year reading is catered specifically to you, whatever you need to support yourself from the transition from 2024 to 2025. So that might be talking about what you need to leave behind in 2024, what support you need integrating what happened in 2024, the work that you did, or this reading may be focused on 2025 and what's ahead for you. But whatever support you need, whatever guidance you need, transitioning from 2024 to 2025, that will be the theme of the reading for you. It is a one-on-one reading over video chats, and I will have the link below in the show notes if you feel called to book a reading with me. Thank you for listening, or thank you for watching. This is a spell. Remember, you are always casting spells, so I hope you cast a powerful spell that is rooted in self-love today. I hope you have an amazing start to your 2025, and I'll see you next week.